All right, well, here we are with the Sell a House Wholesale Real Estate Investing, number 184 on this, what is this, November? Wow, it just turned into a snowy November 2nd, is it? Yeah, a snowy November 2nd, 2016. And sorry, folks, I am in California. Wasn't prepared for, what do you call it, daylight savings time, and so I am there you go. That's where I'm at this morning. John, why don't you cover my butt and make some sense out of this?
Welcome to the Hangout, everybody. I myself am running a second behind here because Paul is running a second behind here, but that's okay. There's my tagline is up. I'm working on getting my tagline up. So as you guys know who join us here on NEWOPDAY, we're discussing the book How to Win Friends and Influence People, and how to relate the knowledge, the expertise, the wisdom, and the system for influencing people to your way of thinking is right here in this book. And so each and every NEWOPDAY, Paul and I come on these hangouts and we just mastermind concepts from this book and just review this and share war stories about our time in the field working with the motivated sellers and applying these type of concepts. So I see that Paul has kind of stepped away from the computer to leave me to kind of get this thing rolling. So no problem there. If you just bear with me so I can take a sip of this coffee.
All right. Hey. Whew, had to go get one of these so that everybody knows what the heck we're doing here. And so that I know what the heck I'm doing here because, as I said, you know what? Wasn't prepared for daylight savings time because I happen to be in California right now. So daylight savings time happened on Saturday, and when the clocks went back, and here I am at 7 o'clock in the morning thinking I got an hour to go to get ready, and all of a sudden at 7:01 or 8:01 Arizona time, I realize that I'm already a minute behind. So with that, where did we leave off in this book, John? Do you recall we were on?
Absolutely, I do recall. So basically, we've gone through so far, we've gone through the introduction and the first 3 chapters of the book. And last week we were talking about if you want honey, don't kick over the beehive type of a concept. I believe that's what we were talking. No, that's from chapter 1. Actually, we were on chapter 3, and we were talking about how to understanding that people always are tuned into what's in it for them. So the concepts we were talking about from this chapter where we left off is about how to, approach motivated sellers, and this is how we're relating this to real estate, to arouse an eager want within them to feel good and want to sell you the house. So how to make your pitch about other people. And we were kind of left off. We were discussing how the concepts in the book specifically we used to rewrite letters from businesses. And we were kind of going through some of the letters that were kind of funny because of people's reactions to it. When it's not, when you're presenting somebody with marketing, trying to tell them how great you are before you even know who it is that you're marketing to. And so we were kind of left off on that concept. Does that kind of jog your memory to bring us to the?
Yes, exactly. Just to give a quick recap for everybody, obviously we've covered in this book so far, we have covered the introduction, which is basically talks about he talks about how this book was written and why this book was written. And obviously that is to help people to be more successful in everything by being able to deal with other people. He also has an introduction here on 9 suggestions on how to get the most out of this book. This is a training manual. This book is a training manual, and he gives you the instructions on how to train yourself in reading this book. And then part 1 that John started with was if you don't want to kick. Part 1 of the book is the fundamental techniques in handling people. And I just want to say something right here. I wanted to go back to this because of our previous hangout. Something came up over there where people are always looking for the secret, you know, what's that special missing ingredient that is going to make all the difference in my life, you know. And when it comes down to everything really, and dealing with people as well, you know, the fundamental basics in that is where the secret, you know, that special ingredient, the secret sauce, or whatever you want to call it, it's all right in the fundamental basics. That's where your grand success lies. That's where the special ingredients are. That's where, you know, how you become a master at something is by mastering the simple basics of it. So I just wanted to point that out, in that this chapter 1 being the fundamental techniques in handling people. These really are the basics right here. This is pretty much it, you know. I mean, if you didn't read anything more than chapter 1 right here, you'd probably be 85% better in handling people than well, 100% better than handling 85% of the people on the planet. That's what I meant to say. So anyway, chapter 1 of this part 1, the fundamental techniques in handling people, was, if you don't if you want to gather honey, don't kick over the beehive, which basically is talking about not criticizing, condemning, or complaining other people. And then chapter 2 in part 1 here is, what was the name of it? I want the name of it. There it is. The big secret of dealing with people, which basically is giving honest and sincere appreciation for others. In other words, sort of, you know, listening. When people talk, actually hearing what they are saying, not glossing over what they're saying so you can think about what you want to say, and understanding and learning and feeling the other person, so to speak. And then here we are in chapter 3 of the book, as John pointed out, which is now called, come on, get over there, there it is. He who can do this has the whole world with him, and he who cannot walks a lonely way. And as John said, this is basically the principle here is how to arouse in the other person an eager want. You can't get anybody interested in what you have or what you are. Yeah, you're going to be walking a lonely way. So this is how to arouse in other people an eager want, not just a want, not just where you have one person who kind of tags along, where you have an eager want, such an eager want that they're willing to tell others what you have and what you are, in order to, you know, create a crowd, bring a following, and make something massive out of this. So I just wanted to catch us up with that, John, real quick. So if you wanted to excuse me.
I do excuse you.
If you wanted to jump into where we left off on the letters, like you said, that really is a pretty awesome little piece there where he starts talking about the letters, and I got to find that page next here to get into that. And I'm going to need some glasses because I just can't see this morning.
No problem. You know, before I do get into that, I just want to thank Paul for that little recap of what we've covered in the book so far. And it's funny because on our previous hangout, we came up with one of the concepts that's actually chapter 2 about sincere and honest appreciation. You know, this is a good thing to consider if you're in network marketing as well, or in real estate, is there's a time and a place to compliment people, and compliments are always good, and you should give people appreciation and gratitude and compliments. The one little piece from that chapter, though, that he does point out is sincere appreciation, so you don't overdo it. And with that being said, that kind of leads us into where he goes here in chapter 3 about arousing an eager want, you know, arousing the person's desire to want to work with you, to want to accept what it is you're sharing with them. In this case, how we're asking ourselves the question, how do we motivate this seller to sell me this property at a discount so that we all can make some money here? So, you know, we had gone into last hangout these letters, so I'm just going to kind of jump into it. And now all these concepts apply to the letters, because I know most of us wholesalers are out there. One of our big ways of attracting deals is through direct mail and leaving letters. So This
How
is
about
kind of an
this?
important topic to get into here.
How about this, John? I'm going to read through the entire letter, skipping the additions, and then we can go back and you can start adding in. How's that sound?
Yeah, I like that.
Okay. The letter goes like this. Dear Mr. Blank, the X company desires to retain its position in advertising agency leadership in the radio field. The agency's national advertising accounts were the bulwark of the network. Our subsequent clearances of station time have kept us at the top of agencies year after year. We desire to service our accounts with the last word on radio station information. Will you therefore put the X company on your preferred list for weekly station information? Every single detail that will be useful in an agency in intelligently booking time. A prompt acknowledgement of this letter giving us your latest doings will be mutually beneficial. Yours truly, yada, yada, yada. P.S. The enclosed reprint of the Blankville Journal will be of interest to you, and you may want to broadcast it over your station. That's the letter. So let's break it down.
Well, just in the very first sentence, I love how he breaks it down in this book, because this gets you thinking, you know, just everybody take a minute that's watching this that may be doing wholesaling and just reflect on your latest marketing piece that you're using and see if these concepts apply to what you're doing. So basically, all right, dear Mr. Blank, the so-and-so company desires to retain its position in advertising agency leadership in the radio field. And the person reading this letter on some sort of subconscious level is thinking to themselves, like, who cares about what you want? Okay, great. You're writing me a letter to tell me that your company wishes to retain its position in advertising agency leadership across the blah, blah. Now everything is blah, blah, blah. Who cares about the rest?
Exactly. You
turn the person up, like.
Yeah, you just shut down their mind to every word, every remaining word on the page. I mean, they're not gonna be receptive to anything on the rest of that page just by spouting off about yourself in the very first sentence. They're gonna be like, "Crap, what do you want?" And I'm worried about my own problems. The bank's foreclosing on my mortgage on my house. The bugs are destroying the hollyhocks. The stock market tumbled yesterday. I missed the 8:15 this morning. I was invited to the Joneses dance last night. The doctor tells me I have high blood pressure and neuritis and dandruff. And then what happens? I come down to the office this morning worried, open my mail, and here is this little whippersnapper off in New York, yapping about what his company wants. Bah! If you only realize what sort of impression his letter makes, he would get out of the advertising business to start manufacturing sheep dip.
It is a little extreme, but you know what? The subconscious mind is extreme, you know, and it's really about how this stuff speaks to the unconscious level of people. That's why I think this part of the book is one of the most critically important things that Paul and I have applied to our business and our marketing, which has made a big difference in our approach and a big difference on how many deals we're getting. So this is gold. We're giving away gold right now. But you know what? We're not giving it away. This gold has been available for like 70 years. So there's no excuse.
Right, exactly.
You haven't gone out and tried to mine it. So then let me read the next sentence. This agency's national advertising accounts were the bulwark of the network. Our subsequent clearance of station time have kept us at the top of agencies year after year. So far you've told me like what you want. And as we already discussed, like, who cares? Rats have infested my home and they bit my daughter's toes. Wah, wah, wah. Everything you say is like, what do I care what you want? I've got my own shit. And now here you continue to brag about how rich and great you are and how on top of it your company is. So now you're bragging.
And what does that spark in the mind? Oh, so you're big and rich and right at the top, are you? So what? I don't give two hoops in Hades if you're as big as General Motors and General Electric and the general staff of the U.S. Army all combined. If you had as much sense as a half-witted hummingbird, you would realize that I am interested in how big I am, not how big you are. All of this talk about your enormous success makes me feel small and unimportant.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, Yeah, and think about that. So think about, like, reflect on your marketing piece. Are you immediately saying, dear John and John, my name is so-and-so, and I'm with a company, and we buy houses, and we're looking to purchase only one more property in your neighborhood, and you need to call me now. Like, so far, okay, you're so rich and great, you only need one more house, and I've got to call you, blah, blah, blah. That's why that marketing is dead. Anyways, we desire to service our accounts with the last word on radio station information. Okay, now again with your desires.
You desire, you unmitigated ass. I'm not interested in what you desire or what the President of the United States desires. Let me tell you once and for all that I am interested in what I desire, okay? And you haven't said a single word about that yet in this absurd letter of yours. That's right there, the telling mark right there. I am interested in what I desire, and you ain't telling me squat about that.
Right. So far, you've said what it is that you want right from the beginning. Then you went on to brag about how great you are in an effort to impress me. And then you again go into what it is that you want. And so far, the person is completely tuned off because there's nothing of interest there for them. You're not offering them any sort of information.
The only reason they're still reading your letter right now is so that they can further spark their anguish and resentment of you. I'm serious. That's the only reason the only reason this letter has not already been crumpled up and thrown into the garbage. Because now you've pissed them off so much, they want a reason to really hate you.
Now let's see if you've turned it around now. So continuing on, will you therefore put the so-and-so company on your preferred list for weekly station information? Every single detail that will be useful to an agency in intelligently booking time. Will you therefore put the so-and-so company on your list? Again, again, you ask for something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, your preferredly, you have the nerve. You make me feel insignificant by your big talk about your company. And then you ask me to put you on a preferred list. And you don't even say please when you ask. It's like, we're so big and great, you should do something for us, is pretty much what this letter says right now.
Yeah, and then it continues. A prompt acknowledgement of this letter giving us your latest doings will be mutually helpful. Okay, so now you expect me to do something? You want me to respond? Like, I rarely read direct mail marketing pieces myself, to be honest, from any company, because they're all so generic, all so boring, and they're all trying to sell me a loan or something. It's so funny that nobody really takes the time to think about that deeply and like what this means. Like us wholesalers are spending $1,000 a campaign to get 1,000 letters out there, and people tell me if they can get 2 to 3 response, you're doing something. You're either not mailing to the right list, or you have a terrible marketing piece if you're only getting a 2% response. Wouldn't you say, Paul? I think our response is 1 in every 20 letters. So what is that? 20% response? 5%? 10%? I don't know.
It's a lot better.
Floundering.
It's a lot better. It's a lot better. But here's the response to that last piece right there. A prompt acknowledgement of this letter giving us your latest doings would be mutually beneficial. And like I like the little mind thought that he puts in here behind this one too. You fool! You mail me a cheap form letter. It's a letter scattered far and wide, like the autumn leaves. And you have the gall to ask me, when I'm worried about the mortgage and the hollyhocks and my blood pressure, to sit down and dictate a personal note acknowledging your form letter? And you ask me to do it promptly? What do you mean promptly? You don't know. Don't you know I'm just as busy as you are? Or at least I like to think I am. And while you're on the subject, who gave you the lordly right to order me around? You say it will be mutually helpful? At last, you have begun to see my viewpoint, but you are vague about how it will be to my advantage. One sentence, one green light in that whole thing, in all of the mind response, the mind thought process in reaction to that letter. There's only one brief little highlight in green. You can see all the highlights in my book, right? All the negative, and then the one highlight in green, at last, you have begun to see my viewpoint. In the very last sentence of the letter, you have begun to see their viewpoint.
Yeah. What happens if you open the letter beginning to see their viewpoint? All right, but continuing. So finally, he ends the letter with a P.S. The enclosed reprint from the Blankville Journal will be of interest to you, and you may want to broadcast it over your station. Okay, finally, you're giving me something that I might want to use.
Mm-hmm. And again, like you just said, why didn't you begin your letter with this? I got to read this because it's so funny again.
I know, I'm waiting for you to read it.
But what's the use? Any advertising man who is guilty of perpetrating such drivel as you have sent me in. I'm sorry, I gotta start that over. The way we used to talk, I love it. But okay, why didn't you begin your letter with this? But what's the use? Any advertising man who is guilty of perpetrating such drivel as you have sent me has something wrong with his medulla oblongata. You don't need a letter giving our latest doings. What you need is a quart of iodine in your thyroid gland. I have a feeling a quart of iodine in your thyroid gland would eliminate you from the face of the planet. I'm not a doctor, but just my guess.
That's really funny. And you know what? There's a couple other letters he has here in this chapter which are equally entertaining and thought-provoking on, what this says to people. But before we move forward, I mean, just review everything that this letter did wrong. And think about, too, Paul, because this is a book that I really kind of ask myself and I write down questions from. Things to ask myself to keep myself reminded. And that's how much of these faux pas and things do we do in our conversations with other people? You ever find yourself stuck in a conversation with somebody that you're like, God, this person won't shut up? And the whole time you're thinking this person won't shut up, typically, why is that? They're probably talking about themselves, either complaining about something that's going wrong in their life, or they're bragging about something in a braggadocious sort of a off-putting way. How many people actually know how to have a good conversation? And are you one of those people that don't know how to? I love this whole book and this whole concept about what we're doing out there with the Property Noodler team is we're going and we're sitting with people that are motivated to sell the house because we've identified them. Now it's just our job to kind of go out there and show them how they can benefit by selling their house for cash. And it can't just be about money in their hand, which for some people that the money could be everything. But with most people, as we're finding out, there's a whole humanity and a personal side attached to those properties and to those situations. And it's not all cookie cutter, boom, I need, this guy has money and I need the money, which is the case, 90% of the time. But there's more to dealing with these people than that. They're still human beings. They still need praise. They still need someone to listen to them. They still need someone to offer them a solution that makes sense for them and makes them feel good and arouses them an eager want to sell you that house. this book is like everything a wholesaler needs to know to be a millionaire in real estate. I mean, this is the basis of negotiation, and those concepts right there take that idea of how that letter is presented. And I did, you know, all right, hey, Paul, how you doing? I want you to do this for me because I'm so great, Paul. This is why I think you should do this for me. And please do this for me, and then respond to me real quick and let me know that you did it for me. And there may be something mutually beneficial for us. Oh, by the way, here's a little, you know, here's $1. Go buy yourself a pack of gum. I mean, that's what that letter was pretty much. And think about your approach when you're talking to people, when you come out the gate, telling them, hey, I'm just here. I want to buy your house, when they don't even know they want to sell it yet. Okay, well, great. You want to buy my house. Why the hell would I want to sell you my house? What makes you think I want to sell you this house? There's got to be approach. You want to know what our approach is? You got to email us and join the team.
I like what you said about the fact that it's not just in your written materials. It's actually in the way that you actually talk to the person. For instance, you know, let's say you went out to somebody's house and you were there to, you know, look at the house and make an evaluation of the property and make them an offer, right? And you come in there and you're talking about, like you talked about a minute ago, you know, well, hey, listen, you know, this house is okay and everything, but you know, I'm looking at 3 others today, and I got to make a decision on which one I'm going to buy. So, you know, what do you want to do here? I mean, okay, great. You know what? You're looking at 3 others. Go buy one of them. You know, you just pissed me off here. I don't care, you know, how awesome you are and how great you are, and how you only, you know, you're going to buy one of these 3 houses today. Well, guess what? It's not going to be mine now. You're going to buy one of the other 2. It's kind of where you're going to set off. I mean, realistically, yes. If you know, if you happen to have that one person who's absolutely so desperate just for the cash, that line might get them to say, oh, well, you've got the money right now. Okay, what do you give me? Let's do this. But the other 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 15, 20 people that you use that line on are going to, you know, that really have more of an underlying root problem than, quote, the money. They're not interested in you.
They're just not. You'll get, you know what? That is a huge piece of wisdom. That is a huge piece of wisdom, really. Like, that's like a trade secret right there. It's about the relationships you can form with the people. Yeah, we're houses. We have all this cash. And you know what? I've got 5 other deals. So I don't have time. What you're telling that person is, I don't have time to deal with you. Okay. I've got all these other deals that are better than your deal. So you know what? If you want anything from me, you better kiss my ass, and you better give me what I want. And me, blah, 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 big guy, lots of money. I'm buying the houses all over. This is the best you're going to get. You'll get a deal or 2, and you'll get deals that way, no doubt. But you got to know, you could still get those kind of deals and more if you go in with an approach to people that it's like, you got a situation you're in, it's bad, I can help you out. I want to get you the most money possible.
You know what? There is a time and a place for that. You know, there is a time and a place for that, but it's already antiquated. The time and the place for that type of an approach is when you have, you know, that flood of inventory that people just don't know what to do. They don't know that there's even an option out there. They don't know that why the hell would anybody want to buy my house? And when you approach in those times, when you approach with that approach, these people, you are now their savior. You know, oh my God, here's a guy with cash who's willing to buy my house now, but oh crap, he's got 3 more to look at. I better freaking get him while he's here inside the house. But if there's not that sense of urgency and the fact that, you know, I don't necessarily have to sell to this guy because there's other people out there that will buy my house, which that's a result of the marketplace, which, you know, we're no longer in that, you know, other market anymore. So that's the whole key behind why it's antiquated.
I want to tell you something else too, and this is kind of letting some cats out of the bag about what we do. but I think it's okay because, you know, these little nuggets, these are just the silver nuggets, really. Basically, here's a little secret. Any vacant home you see anywhere in a market that is a wholesaler's dream, Phoenix, if you're a knowledgeable wholesaler in Phoenix right now, you're tearing it up. You're closing half a dozen deals minimum a month if you know what you're doing. The point I'm trying to make is there's not one homeowner that owns a vacant property or an absentee landlord that owns a distressed rental unit, somebody in foreclosure, in this market at least, that hasn't received at least 1 to 5 letters in advance of yours, in advance of you calling them or knocking on their door.
They don't have a fear that when they don't have a fear that when they decide, you know what, I'm going to sell this house, they're not going to be able to find someone to buy it. They don't have that fear. And
that's why you need these concepts, how to win friends, influence people concepts. That's what you need in this market, really, to have the edge. The secret to wholesaling now really is how you deal with people.
Mm-hmm.
Bottom line, that's, you know, real estate's just the product. It comes down to your ability to work. Let's not even use the word deal with. It makes it sound negative. These are people that you need to work with and treat like human beings. And this is a great book for it. So I think I made my point for the day. I see that we're almost out of time here. So why don't you go ahead, Paul, and give your final thought and close us on out.
It's know your market, know what's going on, understand where people's mindset is in the world, in the marketplace today, because that's what you need to, that's where you need to start. You know, what are people thinking? What are the other people thinking, first of all, about what's going on? Secondarily, how are you presenting yourself to them? And are you doing so in a manner that's going to, number one, first and foremost, get them to like you? That's the very first thing right there, because you know what? People are in this type of a marketplace where they have opportunity and options. They're only going to do, they're always going to choose to do business with someone that they like, someone that they can trust. And that's what your job is in the world, in the marketplace today. So with that, oh universe, I ask not for more wisdom, even though these guys have just given me a mountain of it. Oh no, wait a minute. I ask not for more riches, but for more but for more wisdom, like these guys just gave me a mountain of. To which to make better use of the riches that was given to me at birth, consisting of the power to control and direct my own mind to whatever end I might desire. And with that, everybody, have a great new update. We'll see you back here on Wisdom Wednesday, where we'll be carrying on with some more, I mean, content-driven, whatever you want to call it. I mean, just amazing stuff. So adios, everybody.
All right.